All right, let's set up a quick static mix. And I'm gonna go to the loudest part, and I'm gonna use my Mackie Control Universal to help me set up my static mix. So the first one I'm gonna do is my lead vocal. So I'll bring that up to 0. You seem so real, tell me what. I don't want my lead vocal to drive the VU meter needle above 0. So I'm going to be really careful on that, because when I bring in the kick, because those are going to be my main elements, the lead vocal, the kick, and the snare, and everything else is going to build around that. Is it like to dance in the rain under pale moonlight? I'm stealing stars from the skies that fall from your. What is it like to dance in the rain under pale moonlight? I'm stealing stars. Okay, so I lowered the level of the lead vocal because I want my snare to pop really good on this song. But now I'm not really appreciating the tone of the vocal. So instead of moving anything else, because my levels are good, I'm going to increase the gain on my monitor pot from my interface. So I'm just going to go up a little bit. Tell me what is it like? So now I'm back to where I wanted to hear it without messing with the levels. Instead of, you know what, raising the lead vocal level again, I didn't want that, because then I'm going to start messing with the target output level, if that makes sense. Let's bring in the kick. You seem so real, tell me what is it like to dance in the rain under pale moonlight. And one thing to notice is when you gain stage your tracks properly, you don't have to move the faders all the way up or all the way down. Your moves are minimal, because now you're working with a target mix output level, and so it's a lot easier, because when your tracks are so low and your volume's out of whack and you don't understand the whole gain staging thing between your outputs on your interface, the track levels, your monitor levels, then you start using the faders to do that. But that's not necessarily good, because you can actually use the monitor knob on your interface to help you with the static mix and getting to that level where you want to be. So let's keep going. You seem so real, tell me what is it like to dance in the rain. So on the overheads, I normally solo them just to hear the balance. I want to make sure the kick and the snare remain center. Okay, watch what happens when I lower the fader of the overhead right. It makes the snare sound like it's way over here. And then when I start to bring it up, it makes the snare come to the center. So right now you can hear the snare on the left and the kick. Now let's bring it to the center. I hope you heard that. And that's how the levels between the overhead, left and right work, especially when you're working in a stereo situation, which this is the case. They use two different mics to capture the left side of the kit and the right side of the kit. But it's not about just capturing the sides. It's about capturing the tone of the kit. But then if your overhead right is too hot, then you can throw off the balance of your kick and your snare. The same for the overhead left. So that's where you have to take a moment and just listen to the balance between those two tracks, because what they do is they're really important to the overall balance of the mix of the drum kit. Let's keep going. So real, tell me what is it like to dance in the rain under pale moonlight. I'm stealing stars from the skies
fall from your eyes. I'm getting wrapped up in love, wrapped up in love.
And I'm gonna bring in the toms now, but I'm not really listening to the tom sound just yet. I'm just listening to the overall sound of the kit. So I'm gonna use the bleed of the toms to fill the kit up a little bit.
So real, tell me what is it like to dance in the rain? Now move from your eyes. I'm getting wrapped up in love, wrapped up in love.
Let's listen to the toms. Let's see if we can get a good balance between the 4 toms. And I'm gonna pan them a little bit. So it's 4 toms. So I'm just gonna leave this one a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, more to the right, and the floor tom there. Maybe all the way to the right there. That a little bit more there. Let's try that. So now I'm listening to the overall level of the toms. Now I may do some gating of the toms so I don't have the rest of the bleed, but I may not. I'm gonna see how it goes right now. Okay, so let's bring in the acoustic guitars.
So real, tell me what is it like to dance in the rain under pale moonlight. I'm stealing stars from the skies that fall from your eyes. I'm getting wrapped.
So they are 2 different microphones for the acoustic guitars. But what's gonna happen is because I don't have a lot of instruments, I'm gonna end up with an acoustic guitar on the left, an acoustic guitar on the right, and then I still have 2 electric guitars, one on left and one on right. So I have to be really careful about how I mix that balance.
I sing along with you in this game for two. Tell me, babe, how do you feel? 'Cause I notice that you seem so real.
Okay, let's bring in the electric guitars.
I sing along with you in this game for two. Tell me, babe, how do you feel? 'Cause I notice that you seem so real.
Okay, so right now my master bus is clipping. I have a pretty good balance on the instruments. Let's bring in the bass and then we'll make some overall adjustments.
I sing along with you in this game for two. Tell me, babe, how do you feel? 'Cause I notice that you seem so real. Tell me what is eyes. I'm getting wrapped up in love with you, oh, wrapped up in love. I sing along with you in this game for two. Tell me, babe, how do you feel? 'Cause I notice that you seem so real. Tell me, what is it like to dance in the rain under pale moonlight? I'm stealing stars from the skies that fall from your eyes. I'm getting wrapped up in love with I sing along with you in this game.
Okay, so I've got a pretty good level now, even with the static mix. Let's check these background vocals.
Along with you in this game for two. Tell me, along with you in this game for two. Tell me, babe, how do you feel?
And I'm actually going to leave the background vocals to the right a little bit. So I'm going to think about it like this. Like, here is the lead singer, and to the right of him, he has two background vocalists. And or I could do it to the left. I don't need to pan one left and pan one right, because then what happens is, to me, it just doesn't sound natural anymore. So I'm kind of visualizing the stage as they're playing during this session.
Along with you in this game for two. Tell me,
And it's just a little bit. It's not even a lot. So you see just this parts right here.
along with
I'm just going to go to this busy part here. See how loud it gets.
I'm getting wrapped up in love with you. I'm getting wrapped up.
Okay, that's pretty good for the static mix. Moving on,